All right, huge stories over the weekend. So I mean, just amazing. There's so much news that it was hard. It was hard to believe it was all happening in one weekend. Let's start with tax reform. Okay, tax reform. I always hate to talk about these bills because they get mashed up and changed. And at this one, they were writing things in the corners while they were voting over it. And so let's stipulate right away that this is a messy way to make a bill. The bill is going to be imperfect and all this stuff. But what the left is saying about this bill is they are simply lying. The idea that this bill is not a middle class tax cut is just untrue. I mean, even if you look at it in the smallest way possible, it is going to work out for a tax cut for just about everybody. There'll be a small number of people whose taxes go up. I'll probably be one of them. It's going to be people who are doing well, but they're living in blue states. I mean, that's going to be the people. But I think it's going to be under 12% of the people might see a little bit of a rise. It's not going to be the poor. It's not. It's going to be a tax cut for the middle class and this huge tax cut for corporations, which is great because it is going to bring at least 1 million jobs in here. If it works, you are going to see an absolute surge in this economy. That it won't be like anything you've seen since the comparison between the Carter economy and the Reagan economy. Now, the reason Obama's economy was not as bad as the Carter economy is because the Reagan economy was so good. It made us so rich for so long with the help of Bill Clinton, who kept it in place, that when it crashed, when there finally was the 2007 crash, that was a huge crash, but there were no bread lines. You didn't see people, there were no Hoovervilles or anything like that. That was because Reagan made us all so rich that we could survive, made the country so rich that we could survive a big crash, a crash really as big as the Great Depression without actually having a Great Depression. So Obama, though he was completely, his handling of the economy was awful. It wasn't quite as bad. He had his 1% growth, his slow growth, the new normal. Democrats were always telling us this garbage. It's the new normal. It's not garbage. It's the new normal. Well, it's not. It only took Trump 10 minutes to bring us up to 3.3% GDP. This will do even more. And you know how you know it's great? The reaction of the left. Do you have your leftist tier tumbler ready? Get your leftist tier tumbler ready. Listen to this. Kurt Eichenwald, he's the guy with what was that, tentacle porn? He's the guy that got caught with tentacle porn. He's a senior writer for Newsweek. Hey, it's all good, It's not that there's anything wrong with tentacle porns. Is that an abuse of people with tentacles? I don't know. But so he's a senior writer at Newsweek, contributing editor for Vanity Fair. Here was his tweet. America died tonight. Economics, just keep in mind, this is a tax cut, right? It's like tax reform. America died tonight. Economic suicide, adopted to feed the insatiable greed of donors who have been refusing to dole out dollars to GOP until they got their tax cuts. Voters fooled by propaganda and tribal hatred. Millennials, move away if you can. USA is over. We killed it. And by the way, millennials, feel free to take that advice if you want. My favorite, I think everybody's favorite, was the comedian and actor Patton Oswalt. Now you think like, why? Because everybody's on Twitter, so why quote these people? But Oswalt does have one of the most popular podcasts, I think, on the air. He says, is there any going back after this tax bill scam to America? Does it matter now if Trump is impeached? There's no America now, at least. And then he said, not the America we knew. Sorry, feeling real despair this morning. I mean, this is unbelievable stuff. It really is. And it's just like, well, let's play. And it's not like it was just people on Twitter. It's just Bernie Sanders commenting on it.
A day that historians will look back on December 1st, 2007. And they conclude that today is a day of one of the great robberies, of criminal activities, if you like, in the modern history of this country, because the federal treasury is being looted.
So this is like a guy comes into your house and steals your TV. The police catch him and give you your TV back. And Bernie Sanders says they're robbing this poor man to give TVs to the rich. It's like, it's not your money, Bernie. It's the money. Where is it written that if somebody makes a lot of money, it suddenly belongs to you? How does that happen? It's his money. The money in that treasury that you're talking about about is coming from people who earned it. You didn't earn it. You did nothing except try to turn this country into Venezuela. So what are you talking about? And of course, the stuff about John McCain, just unbelievable. John McCain supported the bill, and he has brain cancer, and people took to Twitter, these leftists took to Twitter en masse to basically wish him dead. And that not just dead, but a horrible, suffering death. And my feeling about that is, how do you then look at yourself in the mirror and say, these Republicans, they have no compassion, they have no empathy, and I hope you die, John McCain. How do you reconcile that? All right, that's a big. I mean, it's a huge story, and it now has to go to committee, and then they still have to pass it again, so it can still founder. Things can happen to it, but it will be big. And Trump is hinting that he may actually now go for the kind of entitlement reform that he said he wasn't going to do at first. But if he's now on board with that, this will be an historic. I mean, this presidency. I get it. I talk about the fact that I don't like the way Trump behaves all the time, but this presidency, for a first year, has been huge. I mean, and all these people who are attacking this tax reform, is anybody going to hold them to account if it works, if the economy skyrockets, if people who are poor suddenly have jobs, if people who are in trouble suddenly are off welfare? Is anybody going to hold these people to account and say, hey, weren't you the guy who said America is dead? America died because we cut taxes a little. America died because we let people hold. The Obama administration passed a law saying you have to buy this or the government can punish you. Trump is trying to get a law passed that says you can keep more of your money, and that's supposed to destroy America. That's supposed to destroy American freedom. This is an amazing moment, and the people who really need to notice it are the people on the right. We need to stop accepting the premises of the left. We need to stop accepting that Donald Trump's behavior is the most important thing going on here, that Donald Trump's tweets are the most important thing going on here. They're not. They're not. What is happening is what is really happening is that freedom is being preserved for another 4 years. And I know that's kind of melodramatic, and I'm not saying, oh, Donald Trump is a saint who's bringing us our freedom. All I'm saying is freedom is fun. Freedom is full of problems. Freedom is full of troubles, but it's fun because you never know what's going to happen next. If you're living in North Korea, you know damn well what's going to happen next. You know what's going to happen tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that. You're going to bow down on your knees with this little clown's foot on your neck. But here, we're still fighting. We're still fighting the power. We're still taking our money back from the power. And I think Trump deserves a lot of praise for that. I think he really does.